another issue on the intersectionality point is the question of whether or not women should support women, say, for example, in politics, just because they are women. And, of course, we saw this play out in the presidential election in the US. And the one thing that actually has just come to my mind about that is when Susan Sarandon got up and said she wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton because she didn't vote with her vagina. So I guess that really does put it very expressly. I mean, Erin, what do you think about this?
I didn't vote for Pauline Hanson.
Even though she's a woman.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Look, and I think that, I mean, you can't take that to the extreme, can you? Because there aren't going to be necessarily, just because they're a woman, they're not necessarily going to represent your interests. And I think that a lot of criticism, for example, that, you know, we've seen flung at certain segments of women, for example, in US society for not voting for Hillary Clinton is, I think we've got to be really careful about that. Because I also think that, you know, we can't assume that certain issues that are important for some women, even if they're women's issues, are going to be as important for other women. If you are a working class, from a working class rural town in somewhere in America, you don't have an education, you're struggling to put food on the table, there may well be certain issues that you think are better represented from another candidate, even if theoretically that candidate is lying to you about what they can do to you. But not recognising those core issues for women is irresponsible.
What do you think, Rachael?
I agree completely with Erin, because it's not about just identifying as a woman. It's about identifying as a woman for women to further that agenda. So Hanson and Jackie Lambie are against women. They make statements about women who dress a certain way, who, you know, subscribe to a certain, you know, train of, you know, thought. They're not out advocating for women. In fact, I'd argue that a lot of those conservative women have gotten where they are out of being the anti-feminists, that men stand up and go, oh, they don't whinge about being a woman. I kind of like that. I'll put her in a position of power.
So they're women who are on anti-women platforms.
Exactly. And wearing their anti-feminism as a badge of honour. So no, it is more about women who are out to support women for me.
Well, it's interesting. I'm going to play the devil's advocate here a little bit and raise this issue, which is we talked earlier about diversity and the importance of diversity in the arts and in business and in politics, because I think where we ended up was basically women want to be able to see people in their image in positions of leadership and on the screens, etc. So I guess, I mean, it's a difficult question, and certainly, like, I wouldn't vote for Pauline Hanson or Jackie Lambie, but I suppose in the American context, at least, I couldn't quite understand how women could vote for Trump after all of the things that he said, which was so anti-women. And I think that that's what I struggled with, which probably picks up your point about, you know, you want to be able to support women who support women rather than people who don't. But I guess there's a question, isn't there, about whether or not, I mean, we're so focused on diversity, and yet at the same time we're sort of saying, well, we might not necessarily support women just because they're women. It's the whole package. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I mean, coming back to your point about, you know, we like to see ourselves, you know, identify with people in politics, for example. I think an interesting case in point is Hillary Clinton, and one of the reasons why I think she lost was because a lot of women didn't identify with her for whatever reason. She didn't actually represent all the women in America. And I think it's really important for us to remember that just because we're women, we're also a lot of other things. We bring a lot of other identity politics or a lot of other identities to our personal experience. It's like, I don't just consider myself a gay person. I don't just consider myself a woman. And so, you know, there's a lot of stuff as an individual that, you know, comes into play when somebody's casting a vote.